It is 7:03 PM on Thursday, March 12th, and I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting that is being recorded. I have with me in the room from the Finance Committee, Dean Nahadas, Andy Alderman, Maury Creighton, Peter Twining, and myself, Sarah Melish. I expect far more to appear shortly. John Croft is not going to make it tonight. Also in the room is Andrea Mainville, Finance Director, and Ann Harrison and John Round from the Select Board. Tony Barletta had a conflict tonight, so he won't be here. Okay. Here's Garth. So the first item on the agenda is the Manchester Essex Regional School District budget. I think I sent it out to you today, and it's the one dated March 3rd, which includes the final changes on the health insurance, and it was approved by the school committee. So, on this handout, so we've already met with the school district. And on page 13 is the operating assessment calculation. Which for Manchester is a little over 18 million. They're saying the increase is 581, but I believe we were 40,000 over last year, so it's more like 540 for us for the increase. So it's not 3.33%, it's more, what is that, closer to
3.01%.
3.01%, so about 3% increase.
I think that's great.
Yeah. And as I recall, from the original budget, there was circuit breaker money of 215,000. The health insurance is now under 10%, isn't that right,
I
Andrea?
believe so, yes.
And what was the third thing?
Don't recall. I'm sure I think that too. And of course, I'm on my laptop today.
Okay,
Well, it went down,
yes.
yes.
So is there, oh, and the other thing is when the this most recent wave, the health insurance is the thing that went down. And so they increased their contribution to OPEB up to 425. I think it was down at what, 350 was it? Or, yeah, it was in the threes, and so they've upped it to 425, and then the balance of the savings from the reduced health insurance has come back in the assessments.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have matrices to measure the efficiency and the effectiveness of our school department? I know this sounds absurd, so I will take the blame for that. How much does it cost us to educate a child in our, and I don't expect answers, I'm just raising these questions for fun. How much does it cost us to educate a child in our school system? And has that number increased or decreased over the years? And what is the metric we use, or does anybody use, for figuring out, is this a good education? And are we getting bang for the buck? I don't know what the derivation of that
I think they're relying
thing
on
is
the
for.
state where it puts it in.
We're relying on the state.
Echelon. DESE did an audit of them.
Yes,
When Essex wanted an audit to be paid for by Manchester and the Essex, and Manchester refused, we didn't feel there needed to be an external.
Yeah.
audit. So the cost to educate a student has increased. And the way I calculate the cost to Manchester is I take the $18 million assessment and divide it by the Manchester students.
That seems reasonable.
And our total students are 622. So if I take, lost my page 13 now. If I take, what did I say, 632?
22.
22. 4, 5, 8.
It comes up to 34,620.
Okay,
I don't know, I haven't done it, I just made
well,
that
I just
up.
put in the amount of the
made that
budget
up.
in my password, that didn't work.
$29,032.
No, no, okay.
Okay,
And the,
that's excluding the capital.
so we know the cost.
Yep.
And do we know the quality of the education? And again,
how do
this
you
is
measure that?
stupid. Yeah, I
I mean,
agree, I
there's-
agree. You know, it's hard.
I don't
It's hard.
think that's for us to measure. I
Okay.
think the challenge we have when we have a regional school district is we don't really have control over the education program. We can push back on finances, which we have done
Mhm.
over the years, particularly a number of years ago when our assessments were going way up and Essex wasn't going up as much. Now Essex has been pushing back more, but I think that they're doing a much better job myself at looking at the budget and making it as lean as,
Yeah, when we had the superintendent here, I thought her answers were quite good.
yeah.
And I said, "Are you satisfied?" And she said, "No, of course I'm not satisfied.
Yeah.
We'll do better," which is great. I'm just, you know, being a,
Pain in the neck.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Those were the words I was searching for.
I think that, I did receive a newsletter from Lindsay Banks, and she did say that they're, for the class of 2030, they're adding in half a credit requirement in the arts area,
Great.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's business
Yeah.
as normal. I think that they, on school choice, which we haven't been super supportive of because it costs us more to educate than we get in, she said their plan this year was to just replace the number that were graduating. And not increase the number.
So one thought on that is I just calculated a slightly different way. I just took the entire school population and divided by the total, which is combining Essex
Including
and
both towns.
both
But
towns.
did you only include the residents or did you include everyone?
I included the 1,201.
The resident total is only 1,081.
That's
Right.
but there are other
But-
folks in there.
Yeah, but
So just the average cost per student is about $27,030.
That's an operating only, doesn't
Yes.
include the loans on the building.
Doesn't include
Right.
debt.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is, I think like 5 years ago, that number was more like 23,000. But the denominator was bigger. I mean, they've lost 70 students
Right.
from, so, you know, you're dividing that, an increasing number by a fewer number of students, so.
And I insist on only doing the resident total because of the fact that with the school choice, we're not getting the revenue in to cover them, so
Right,
I don't think we should be including them when we
Right.
count the cost.
yeah.
Because they say it doesn't cost them anymore.
I mean, we
with
get
school
what,
choice.
7,000 or 5,000 per choice student?
5.
5. So
Yeah.
5,000 and if our average cost is 27. It's a loss, it's helping take a little bit off
I
the
think, I think the
table,
goal though is they're not adding them if it's driving a teacher count, you know, so.
Right.
Right.
It's
So
the
we have
empty seats.
capacity, unused
Right.
capacity.
So that's why I use the resident
I
total
understand.
because I'm saying
But
That's the
just
true cost.
as a sub-note on that, it is a lottery, right? And you could end up with somebody who has special needs.
In that case, the
Which-
cost goes back to the sending district.
Only if it's out of district.
No,
Oh, both ways?
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
So the other question I would have, and I'll stop after this, is should we have representatives of the student body come and be willing to talk about their experience
No,
in the school system
no.
to the folks in the town?
You are a
We-
teacher.
We,
I am a teacher. yeah.
we had a public forum or something at one point
Yeah,
over in the Essex cafeteria, I think. It was an absolute, total disaster.
They had one at the high school.
Well, maybe it was at the
I
high
remember
school.
that.
I don't think it was a disaster. I think it was,
It was very lopsided. It was not,
no, but it was an opportunity for those students to speak up
Yeah.
to an issue that mattered to them. I think it's important.
yeah, but it was, it was when they were talking about dropping,
Yeah,
oh,
Something.
okay.
right.
Some art,
Yeah.
music or,
yeah,
Something
something
like
like that, some
Several
program.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just became a gripe session. That was, it wasn't.
for the
it-
kids against the town.
It was
Well,
long
and the
to sit
teachers.
through.
Okay.
And the teachers,
But you
and I
guys
just
gave a
didn't
great
feel it
speech.
was value added because it was not impartial.
Okay.
Um,
Just,
and they were recruited
oh, of course, yeah.
to make their point of why the district budget should be higher.
Yeah.
rather than-
Okay. All right.
I mean, kind of two thoughts on that is, I mean, anecdotally, I mean, I listen to this all the time and I ask people, oh, you've got kids in the school system, are you happy with this experience? 14 times out of 15, they say yes. Our kids, we started at Brookwood, it didn't work, we're in Manchester. I know of one family who's had one person leave district, but for the most part, and our boys' contemporaries who all went to different colleges said we were amazingly well prepared, particularly in writing, critiquing other people's writing, and a lot of our fellow classmates in college were not that well prepared. So, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I keep hearing that story, which is, I think, really, really good. The other thing is our job, as much as we'd like to pay attention to the school, they hand us two bills. They hand us an operating bill and they hand us a debt bill. And our job is to say yes or no.
To figure out how to pay
Not
for it.
necessarily to go in and say
Okay.
there needs to be more French or let's
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
robotics team doing
Well,
more.
and I think the
That's-
other thing that people need to remember is the towns are merely approving the bottom line. The school district can make changes within their program any way they want as long as they hit the bottom line. So for somebody to tell us what they're and many years, they tell us they're doing A and they end up doing B. And so it's not like we can logically make a decision on the budget based on what they're saying they're gonna offer because they have the option of changing it.
So, I'd like to respond, why I said great is because I think size matters and that we have a smaller district. And a lot of people like that, but it's gonna cost more per student.
Right.
So I don't mind the comparisons with the state being a little bit higher because I like having a smaller school district. There's other benefits. One metric what we are competing with is parents, whether they're pulling their kids out to go to private school.
Right.
We have to keep our standards up to prevent that because that's a very,
Right.
So I think we're doing all right in that. During COVID, we might have had some setbacks, but, I think a lot of people are satisfied to keep their kids here. The other thing I'd like to comment on is the horror show that other towns have gone through recently with strikes that we don't have. And I don't mind making sure that doesn't happen because Beverly went through it, Haverhill,
Gloucester.
so we haven't had that.
That's a good point.
The only thing I do question is, they keep relying on reserves, and what keeps recharging these reserves that they rely on. I think their budgets are robust so that, because they don't wanna end up short, because that costs children. And what they do is they put a sizable amount every year back into, so,
Which is what we were doing before we cut back on our
Yeah.
revenue.
I mean, it goes to your comment about how they are talking about doing a certain thing and then things shift during the year, they end up doing some different things and there's, the money moves around a little bit.
Well, and they don't know how many students they're gonna have in each grade until October, long after the budget's been approved.
Yeah.
So,
It's a challenge.
School budget is a very complicated thing.
well,
Running
one
a
other
school
thing,
system.
yeah,
to Maury's point, I don't think our job is to just rubber stamp or deny. I think we need to do due diligence to make constructive suggestions. I mean, I think that's part of our job.
well, and that's why we have the school district come in, so that we have the opportunity to ask them
Right.
questions, that's the point of that. Ann, you were gonna say something?
I've got about 17 things.
Yeah.
Some students don't cost very much to educate. Some students cost $200,000, which I think is about the level above which we get reimbursement.
Is that what the?
It's huge.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It may not be quite that big. It's at least 4 times the average per pupil cost that we have to swallow when we get a kid who needs a lot of help.
Well, I know there's a kid on my street who was going away for day school, and he's now in a boarding school year round.
Yep. And we have them
Got
until,
older and,
we have them
managing.
until they're 22.
yeah,
So the number of students who are enrolled in the high school does not necessarily reflect what we're paying for. And this is not unique to regional school districts. Even a city school district, the school district itself handles its education plan. And the mayor and the city council can cut their budget, but
they can't do anything about it.
they can't do anything about how it's spent.
Okay.
So that is not a unique problem that we got into by regional high school.
I have heard stories of families moving to town renting, whose children go to Landmark School.
Really?
Yes.
We don't send kids to Landmark.
We don't?
No.
Okay, so that's not,
One of the decisions that the school made was that their special education would emphasize literacy problems, and that's what Landmark does. And I believe we are no longer sending anybody to Landmark.
because we have the
Unless,
capability.
because we have the capability now.
There are examples of people that move into town temporarily to be close to Landmark so their kids can go there, but it's
That's
independent of the district.
They could.
I'm aware of people who rented apartments, even though they owned a house in Gloucester, so their kids could go to Manchester
Right.
school, which, okay. Whatever.
When Pam first started, she and a couple of other administrators were going around to apartment buildings looking for buildings that were dark at 8 o'clock at night, meaning that they were not actually living there.
Mhm.
I think they've solved some of that problem. They're quite rigorous about making sure that people who are enrolled in the district
I live here.
Really do
Living in the
live here.
district.
Okay, anything else on the schools?
No, but thank you, the budget's down some.
Has Essex approved the budget? I mean,
Yeah,
are
do
they
we
gonna
need to
have
reapprove it?
pushback, do you know? Probably not.
But it
It
doesn't
shouldn't matter.
seem to me like there's as much pushback as there was. I believe they're gonna have an override, but their total increase is 389,000. Plus that's offset, and ours is offset some by a reduction in debt. The net amount is a little less, but I believe they're still planning on an override, but I don't think it's contentious like it was a couple of years ago, even last year.
I had one last question on the budget. On page 18, at the bottom, there was some debt payment. BAN, bond anticipation note?
Yeah, that's what we do. So that is and I talk about it in my little write-up on the tax rate, that the bond anticipation note is what we're gonna be doing, during construction.
Right,
So we pay only the interest.
right,
And the short-term rates are cheaper.
okay,
And so then you lock in the long-term rates, either if long-term rates become less than the short-term,
yeah,
or at the end of the construction process. And we had a meeting this week, and it sounds like the school is gonna issue bans for the Essex School construction, which is not what they did on Memorial School.
Right.
Memorial School, they locked in long-term bonds because the rates were
great.
lower, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now the long-term are higher, so, and I think that, if you look at our debt service and the stuff that Andy has done regarding capital, that her assumption is on our capital projects is that it's gonna be bans in the early years until we finish construction.
So we're approving some funding for that project this year, FY '27.
What project?
The elementary school.
No, it's going to be done in a special town meeting, probably in the fall.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But this ban is related to the Manchester Memorial
Yeah.
Elementary School.
Right.
So then I talked to Michelle about this $650,000 ban, that's what you were asking about.
Yes,
Okay.
And that's, next year's, they're finishing up like some of the last paperwork and they're waiting for a reimbursement from MSBA so that that'll be paid off next year. So I won't see that again.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, is the reimbursement from the state
right,
Takes a bit.
is after the fact.
Right, yes.
And
Yeah,
so we don't want to do the long-term bonds
yeah. Same thing Foxborough went through.
before the
Security.
reimbursement, yeah.
And I have the list of the changes in the budget.
Okay,
It's, they reduced 250,000 from circuit breaker.
Yeah.
255,000 in health insurance, and then the OPEB decrease.
Okay.
As well to make
The
up those
OPEB is
difference,
very
yeah.
low, yeah.
And what did they put into OPEB?
I think it was like 300,000,
Now they're doing
Right.
425.
425.
25.
They've
So they're still
upped it.
doing a little bit, but
They, because they
Yeah.
had additional, health savings. I mean, we've had 3 iterations of their budget.
Yes,
And this most recent one has,
so they had 761,000 for OPEB and they dropped it down to 425.
no, they dropped it down to 300 and then they put it back up to
Yes.
425.
Yes.
But now health insurance. Health insurance is less than it was last year.
I had they said that their decrease in health insurance was 255,000.
From a prior bill, from a prior.
I thought that was the decrease of their estimate, from their estimate. No.
The first
No,
time,
prior
but then
year.
it's come down again.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
And what this is showing is health insurance benefit rate increase and other insurance has dropped 69,000. So that doesn't make sense to me. I believe Michelle said it came in at under 9% increase in the health insurance. 9.
Well, on page 11 of, it shows it being 10%.
Okay, thank you.
For the active.
the final number probably isn't locked in, but it's a good estimate.
It is,
It is locked in.
that was my understanding, it's
Right,
locked in, that they got their final number. Okay. Page 13. Do I have a motion to approve the school operating budget in the amount of 18,058,187.50?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Maury seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. It's the right number, right, Andrea?
It is, triple check.
And then later is the capital budget.
Page 18.
Yeah, but I'm looking for the total. I swear I saw a total.
On the
Page
top of
18 on the second box from the top.
Okay, thank you. So the total is 2,573,924.
I have a little bit higher, but I think that's, we should go with their number. The amortized, which I didn't include.
What?
I have 2,590,000. I didn't think they had the original bond anticipation principal and interest and the amortization
Yeah.
of premium.
So
So
you
this-
think
I
this
think this is-
2573 is accurate?
Yes.
Is this page 18?
It
Yes.
is,
We're
yeah.
basically
And if
just
you
adding
scroll
up the
a little-
Manchester amounts, there's 4 boxes.
No, up at the second box down at the
Scroll up a
top is
little
the
bit.
total.
Okay. Oh, right,
Right there.
right, yeah, okay.
It's the one without the green bar on the top.
So just out of general curiosity, Andy, do you have an idea of what Essex Elementary is gonna look like? Because I mean, just kind of looking at this, just as a heads up, we're about $1 million finishing up the high school debt, which will go through about 2030, 2031. And we're about 1.5 million a year, 1.6, 1.5 million a year through 2045 on Essex Elementary.
Okay, the meeting I went to this week, which was talking about the funding, was talking about doing maybe $1 million ban May of 27. So that would be so we pay interest on $1 million at like 3.5%. And
27.
May of 27, $1 million for the work to be done. It may be less than that, Andy, but
I
It's-
A
was,
year from now.
I'm trying to correlate that with when construction is happening and it's
I
not.
think that's for something to do with design maybe.
Oh, so additional design services beyond the feasibility study. Oh,
Right.
Okay.
The design
okay.
service is beyond the feasibility study.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
And that would be that might be $1 million to cover the costs for a year. And then,
And the interest is due at the end of the year.
right, the interest is due at the end of so that the interest payment would be in fiscal year 28. And then they talked about another ban being issued in 28 to take the $1 million plus what they need
Right.
for construction. And
What kind of a number is that?
they said 15 million, but I don't know if that's accurate. And this is for the total school, not just Manchester.
I understand, yes.
And they were saying that you can do bans for up to 10 years. But starting in year 3 or 4, it wasn't clear to me which was accurate, you have to start paying 1/28 of the principal.
Right.
So they were talking about continuing to look at long-term rates versus short-term rates and continue using bands as long as those rates were lower.
Right.
So,
I mean, my
and
general-
they have a whole schedule, which
Right.
I haven't received yet. And they were fine tuning it based on input they received this week, but they're gonna have a whole schedule for us of
So, that-
anticipated costs each year
yeah, I think the
for the
general just
school.
question I'm asking is, we're sort of looking at about 2.5 million a year on 2 existing schools. And those run for, I'm less interested in what happens in the next 1 year or 2 or 3. What happens year 5 to 30 going out?
That's the schedule we need to wait until we get it. I mean, we can theorize about it all we
But
want.
that's kind of the rough nature of the question. Do you think that Essex will be about the same cost as Memorial?
They
And
would-
could we effectively just
No.
kind of double the number
No.
for thinking?
I think it's gonna be a little more.
the numbers they were throwing out, which I don't know how accurate those were, was a total of like 54 million.
Okay.
It was
That would be about the same.
53.6.
I was hearing higher numbers, but
62.
That's what they were using based on information they received, but I don't know how good that was.
they're about to get some estimates on the various options that have been.
Yeah, they haven't made the
looking at.
decision yet as
Right.
to,
Which design, right?
they've decided, and my understanding is they decided to put it on the same location as the current school, but they have not yet decided whether it's gonna be a new build or a reconstruction or some third option.
Or code upgrade, so
Code upgrade,
they,
yeah.
they have to, by MSBA rules, they have to look at code upgrade of existing, addition renovation, and then, new construction. And then, but they're not limited to looking at just one of those options. And so I think at the moment there's,
Don't know.
I don't know, like
So just
7 or
really-
8 variations.
Really broad brushstroke.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at like 1.6 million a year for Essex, if we just model after that for about 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, it might be more, might be less, but that's kind of the ballpark. So, and that would take us out to probably like 2050. The only reason I'm asking
We're
is, as we
talking
think
30
about
Yeah.
water treatment moving and all these other things, what's
Okay.
kind of on the table?
Tonight is not a discussion for long-term capital.
No,
I
but I
mean, we've
think,
had this discussion before, we can't discuss it unless we're looking at real numbers. I think to theorize about stuff and raise the angst of people when we really don't have information.
I'm not trying to raise the angst, I'm just sort of saying, where do we think we're gonna be in 10 years from now? Where do we think we're gonna be in 5 years from now? That's what I'm asking.
Right, and we need to get the numbers from Hilltop regarding their estimates of the cost for the school. Because they're going out every year.
Right.
And I think that's what we need.
Hilltop.
Hilltop is the bond.
Oh,
That's the
Bond
people
issue.
that do the bond stuff.
Financial advisor.
So, another question though, that at town meeting, they agreed to fund the feasibility study. Do we need to get another approval to do the design or for the whole project before we
No,
start spending money
the,
for design?
the November special town meeting, it's my understanding that is to authorize the full amount anticipated cost of the school.
We'll be ready by then.
That's what they said.
Okay.
And then they'll make the determination as to how much they need to spend of that a year. So we just do the initial,
Okay.
from now on, we have one vote, is my understanding.
You actually have 2,
Well, at the ballot box.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
but, you know,
So we're not voting to spend any of this design money at this meeting?
no,
So there'll be a special town meeting?
yes.
yeah,
And it's
that's,
Once they know what it's.
targeted for May of 27?
Right.
Okay.
No, there's gonna be a special town meeting in November of 26.
Right, but,
Once they know what the school's gonna cost.
right, and this ban is started for May of 27.
That's what they're assuming.
Right, okay, that's fine, that works, as long as, we're
They
just
need-
bound to have a special
they
town meeting,
need-
that's all.
They need approval from the towns
Yeah.
before they can start spending more money.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because it's my understanding they're using up most of the money that's
Right.
already been approved.
right, because we only authorized the feasibility
Right.
amount. And if for some reason one of the towns doesn't approve the project, then it's, it stops and they have to potentially re-engage with MSBA to kind of go back and get authorization to take another try.
Yeah, Pam seemed to indicate that by April 29th of 27.
Yeah.
They're required to file some type of report
To the state.
to the state regarding whether the towns have appropriated the money or not.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like.
Oh, all right.
No, April of 27, April 29th of 27, which is why they didn't wanna wait for an April town meeting
Right.
for the votes.
Yeah.
So
Most-
they, but they had, it seems like at the end of April of '27, they have to commit to the MSBCA, whatever it is.
MSBA, yeah.
MSBA.
Yeah.
Whether or not the towns have approved the funding.
I'd like to go back to though, where Maury was talking about, and he wasn't saying we need to have exact numbers for our planning, but he was sort of saying, looking at the capital position and the debt position of the town over the next 20 or 30 years, which sounds absurd,
Right,
that we
and
could
that's the-
actually think about that. But those are the kinds of things that good planning require, and they're always wrong.
But that's
They're always
that's the 25-year plan we worked on last year,
And
and we haven't worked on it again this year.
correct.
So
So
we're gonna need to do that in the summer.
we are.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, I
Yes.
think we agree on that,
Yeah, I
because
mean-
we need to have
Why do you want
big picture of where this town is gonna be
Right, and
20
that's,
years from now.
that's what we worked on last year,
Great,
to do, putting in all of the projected
absolutely. And
town projects.
we know a lot of the numbers won't be
and
right,
this-
but,
Right, yeah.
we're gonna try to use these,
and it
a thick crayon.
was
for-
$100 million, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was big money.
Yeah, and so it's worth taking a look,
Right.
obviously. Thanks, sorry.
It might affect some of the capital projects we want to approve this year.
We've already voted on the capital budget
Yeah.
for this year.
Well, you said there was something on the agenda. I mean, we still have to deal with town meeting.
We voted on the capital budget. We're not gonna
Was my vote included when I wrote into you? Well, never.
Were you at the meeting?
I gave you my notes, I was late at where my plane is.
Yeah, so if you're not at the meeting, you don't get to vote.
Well,
Because
my
you,
notes should be included with the minutes, right?
no, they weren't part of a public record.
Okay.
So, but I do agree that we need to have a overall look at where we're going, and
Right.
we have to move the sewer plant to,
But we don't even know we need to do that.
no, we don't, no. But those are the kinds of what-ifs that we should
Right.
be folding into a strategic,
Right.
long-term plan.
And I think it will help us a lot when we get more definitive numbers on the school building. You know, because we have flexibility on when we do
Right.
some of our projects. And we'll discuss that a little bit when we come up to look at the warrant. This is a little footnote in there which is of interest, and I had a discussion with the town administrator.
So you have a motion for capital
Yes.
in the amount of two
Could
million,
you just
five hundred and
repeat the
seventy-three
number? Is
thousand,
it the
nine
number in
hundred
the
and
sheet here, or
twenty-four.
is it the one
Yeah,
that?
it's page 18, $2,573,924.16.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes,
Maury,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. Okay, and if we look at the, where's the budget? Does this May 5th one have those new numbers?
Yes,
Okay.
March
fifth.
5th. March 5th. It's page 53.
don't rush it, Sarah.
It would be through town meeting.
We'd be done?
All right. Let's adjourn.
Okay, 53.
For Essex Tech.
Yeah, because we gotta vote on this anyway because of Essex Tech. So you're gonna change this number for the bonding, is
I
that
am.
correct? The 2573, okay.
Yep.
2573924. And so the school operating went up 525, but the debt has gone down 75,000, right?
Right.
So the net increase is 450. Which is what percentage? Do we know? So it's certainly much more reasonable.
2.2%.
Okay, yeah. So the increase came in under 3. 2.2 looks too low.
It does.
But
I did it right. I made it clear.
So the,
it should
is
be
it the 176
It should be-
compared to the 194?
20,632,111 divided by 21 million.
Well, the delta's
Okay.
shown in that last column.
Right, but we've changed the numbers.
Yeah.
What page is this on?
53.
No, no, no.
And this is the budget from your,
Her book,
her book from
March
From-
5th.
March 5th.
yeah. School
the-
education.
Debt needs to be reduced to the 2,573,000, which I will do. Still get 2.2.
Okay. Okay. So now, the North Shore Technical changed. Do you
It
know
did.
why that changed?
I had estimated more students. So we had an estimate, I put an estimate of 194,060 based on this total school per student number. But actually we have 8 students, so the amount came in less.
Okay. So I might need a motion to approve the North Shore Agricultural and Technical School in the amount of 435.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? That's for 8 students.
Correct.
Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
yes.
Andy, Maury,
Yes.
Peter, and Sarah votes yes. So that is just out of, that is 171,435. That's 21,429 per student.
I understand it's very hard to get in there now. I wonder if that
They've
keeps the
changed it.
students down. I mean, if they went to Wakefield or another one.
No, they've changed the whole program. It's now based on a lottery, no eligibility per se. And Manchester has 10 slots
Okay.
each year.
for each grade. So we currently have a total of 8 students
For
there.
all the grades.
Wrong
We could
grades,
have
yeah.
40,
Okay, so we should
Um,
have priority if they want.
which obviously will impact the school district if they lose 40 students. But it will be some each year, and if we don't use all those slots,
We don't have to pay for it.
then they go back someplace else.
That's fine.
Someone else
Back
pays
into
for
the
them.
line. Yeah,
Okay. Curious.
because for years, we paid for 5 students, even though we had less than 5 students.
Right.
Because there was a minimum charge for 5 students. And I don't have any information on how many students from Manchester have applied and not
Right,
been accepted. I don't know what,
I don't know.
it's not a huge number, I don't think, but maybe if it doesn't, maybe if they don't look at grades and don't look at a whole bunch of stuff, maybe more people will apply. Maybe it was intimidating for people, I don't know.
I think there's a group from Essex that appreciates it. Learning more from Essex.
Okay. Do we have any budget edits?
Yes, but I don't have final numbers. Until next week. I was talking to Chuck, and he's putting together numbers for snow and ice. Currently, with the numbers we have right now, we're looking at a $200,000 deficit. We're already looking at the legal line deficit, probably around $100,000. I don't see right now that I have $300,000
Okay.
of money that I could possibly transfer at year end. So they're finalized putting some of the numbers together. We're getting some of the last minute, vendor invoices in to see what the total cost would be for that, but it'll be in the below 200,000,
More than what we budgeted or?
more than what we budgeted, yeah, yes,
It was a bad year.
yeah.
So.
Mine was more than what I budgeted also.
Kind of adjust
Check.
around that, or do we carry it over to carry it over to next year, or what, how do we deal with that?
So normally, if it's like a smaller deficit, normally I can do those year-end transfers and cover it.
Right,
And I prefer to cover it in the fiscal year that, if we can, because otherwise, if I carry that deficit over at the end of the year, I have to raise it on the tax recap in the fall, and then as part of our free cash calculation, they reduce our free cash.
so they could
So it's like a double hit.
Yeah.
So if we can head that off and, use free cash now, then we don't have to raise it on the recap in November.
That's
So
what that-
you're contemplating having an article at the April town meeting to
That's where I was going
fund
with this.
the
Yeah.
26 snow and ice.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
yes.
That's what
That's what I was gonna
Warrant
ask,
Article
and
13,
do you,
I was
Do
wondering
you
about
have to
that.
have
Okay.
that in writing quickly if you missed a deadline? Are you coming up on a deadline where you can do that, or can you toss that in like right before
We can toss it
printing?
in before, so,
Okay.
Tonya met with legal, and we have an article in there right now that says like, to transfer a sum of money
Yeah, to be
to
specified.
be specified, and so then in the motion, we can say,
Got it.
so we could get that in, a week before town meeting. Because I'd rather vote the exact amount and not, more than we need.
Yeah, and not carry it over and have it affect free cash.
And then another item that came up, actually this week, was another prior bill, but I'm working with the vendor on that,
Okay, so
to see.
still,
to see what
What's
we
the
can do
rush?
with that.
How much?
Right now, he's, I've heard it's around $10,000. It's 2 years' worth of bills that he didn't get into us, but we did ask him for it. So
Does there come a point when we don't pay it?
we can say no, and then they can take us, to small claims court, and then we pay them plus like the legal fees and things like that, so sometimes it's worth it just to
Pay.
pay it.
Is this an important vendor?
It relates to town meeting, the AV vendor,
It's what?
Oh, boy.
yeah, audio,
Oh,
visual,
I guess we
technical.
need AV.
Yeah.
A quiet
never
town
worked.
meeting is a hard
Yes, a little
town
bit,
meeting.
yes, yes.
If the machine didn't work, do
Are
they?
we using
So-
1623 Studio?
No.
Oh, we're using somebody else, okay. Who doesn't do their invoices?
But they failed to
No.
bill us or something
Yes.
and
Correct,
let it slide.
yes.
Great management. Yeah.
This is the bills that are supposed to be to us by like July 14th or something of 25, right, or whatever the date is.
So the money for that theoretically went into the rain barrel.
Correct. So far, that's all I have.
Okay. Okay. Now Tony sent us the warrant articles.
Mm-hmm.
They're not final
Right.
because they have to go to the select board on Monday.
Right.
So they'll be final, hopefully by our meeting next Thursday. And if you look at Article 5, you'll notice that there's a little comment that says it did not include unfunded requests or the community center, AKA senior center. And the conversation I had was, so apparently the people raising the money are looking for more money to have more definitive plans. And my reaction was, well, last year, we gave them money to do schematics because they needed it to raise donations.
Right.
And I didn't think that the finance committee would support giving more money for the project unless and until they at least had letters of intent or something from
Were
people
they not
regarding.
able to do, to
They
create?
haven't asked.
I think your instinct was pretty good in this regard. That just
And it's,
you know,
it's-
personally speaking.
it's my understanding that the total cost has also risen. And that now they're talking about using portions of it for the town, so therefore maybe the town should fund part of it.
Yep.
So this will be a subject next year.
What size senior center is left?
So, but this is something brewing, and they don't have final numbers, but I think the estimates went up quite a bit. I can't remember, was it 5 or 6 million, or am I making that up?
No, I think it's a little bit more than that now.
Oh, okay.
Do we know if the
Is that scope? Sorry.
P&S has been signed?
It is not.
I'd wait on this. I mean, this is.
Right, that's what I said.
this is-
I
frankly,
thought
this
it was
is
premature.
Bad management. I mean, when you, this is what people lose their roles for on boards, for making decisions
Reminds me
like
of the,
this.
of the ramp project.
Sorry.
Yes, the
Yeah.
low ramp,
Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
yeah.
Is the increase in, the estimates, is that scope driven or like are they changing the program, they're doing more or
Inflation.
No, I believe,
just
and I could be
escalation?
wrong, maybe Tony can speak some more about this next week, but from what I've been told, it's the architect that they were using, they wanted to have like professional estimate companies.
An estimator, yeah.
And then that came in back much higher square foot dollar figure,
So
than
they
the
projected
original
a different
plan.
number that had been carried.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the little wood frame building over by the train station?
Oh, that is being leased to a company that,
Uses it for storage,
yeah, uses it for storage, but they sell
games.
antique games. They
Do we get
collect all
income from leasing the building to them?
We don't own it.
It's not.
No, it's owned by the condo.
Association.
Because
I thought-
they own the land and they succeeded to the ownership of what was on top of their land.
Oh. They stole it from them.
No, they
No,
didn't
they
steal
didn't.
We
it.
never
That's the
owned
way
it.
the world works.
Because we didn't move it. They asked
No.
us to move it and we didn't.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
us.
that's
It
not
never
right.
had
That's not
anything
right
to
either.
do with the
For
town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make it clear.
It was
It was
the
the-
finance.
It-
yeah,
No, it was the
that-
community center
Right.
board
Okay.
as it was.
So we lost it.
Andrew, is there some, what is going
So
on with purchase and sale? Do we have, I mean, is this still being negotiated? Is that what's going
There
on?
were
Yeah, I'm not sure.
there were details still being negotiated, I don't know what that means.
I don't need to know it,
But there is apparently a red line draft that the Masons had not signed off on any of the red lines that they had agreed to, so it wasn't clear what issues were still outstanding and what were. Hey, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so it's still being, document's still being negotiated.
Yeah.
And where does the decision lie with the select board?
It's
or-
the attorneys.
Right, the attorneys are trying to iron out issues, because we have to anticipate issues that won't come up for 25 years. What happens if the Masons decide to move out and put in another Mason lodge there versus if the Masons decide to sell, versus if the Masons decide to lease it to somebody who's not a Mason. And there are also some issues around the time between we sign the purchase and sales and the time we finish the reconstruction. And who gets to use what. In particular, we're taking over their blue room. They get a new blue room, but until we start doing the building, they have to use their current blue room, which doesn't leave us with a lot of space. So, other than that, I don't think there are more than 50 or 60 small questions.
So this could go on for another year or two
Oh,
or
yeah.
three.
Could go on
We
quite
should,
well.
we should just sort of like, I think, focus on this
We'll have
till
a whole
something
new
gets,
generation
Yeah,
of
something
elders.
gets resolved.
Seriously, Tony thinks that they are within a very few questions of closing, and they have told him that they will close by the end of March.
I think we heard that last year.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we restored the funding to the van, the Council on Aging van, and, doing what we can for these poor seniors. Because they paid $1 million. They were all,
We didn't pay anything.
No,
we
The
did.
town did.
We
Yeah,
did,
well, guess
yeah.
who paid for that?
We haven't paid it
Seniors
yet.
that lived here for
Yeah,
30
we haven't
years.
paid it yet.
Oh, we haven't?
No,
Wow.
it's still sitting in the coffers.
We could blow it up.
Sad story.
it is. Well, anyway, I think your instincts were accurate
Okay.
from my point of view.
Well, we had been so contentious about last year when we had to appropriate something. As I recall, we dropped the number from 100 to 50. And I didn't see why they needed more detailed plans. They've got floor plans. I don't
They said
know.
they were able to do what they sought to do, which
They've
is,
got floor plans. They've got everything. I don't know what else one would need to raise money.
What did they want, renderings or something?
They've
Like-
got those. No,
That's
they,
what- Do they have those?
they were looking for costs for construction documents.
Yeah, they don't need that.
And they got
Right.
them.
Okay.
thank you. Okay, got it.
I think they were operating on the theory that unless and until it was ready for construction, people wouldn't donate.
Oh.
And that's not how the real world works.
Is there still this notion that the town might front pay it and then they'd look for donations to pay the town back? Because I don't think
I
that
don't
one's
know.
gonna fly either.
I don't know, Maury. I don't think they've gotten that far.
I think that's I think that's a non-starter, but
I
that's my
think the
personal
issue is if they go out and get letter of intent, what volume of money is it? With respect to what the total cost of the project is. Is it, $1 million when it's a $6 million project? Well, that could be problematic.
Back in the old days, T. Jefferson Coolidge gave a library,
Right,
and he just wrote a check, and I think they hired Shepley Bullfinch or whoever it was
Yeah.
who designed it.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
right,
Remind the rock right up from Norwood Ave.
You bet.
yeah. We need somebody to do that. 6 million, 7 million, whatever.
I think we need to own the place first.
need less complexity.
This is my throwaway, no wonder I'm getting confused. Okay, so we'll do the warrant next week. Okay, so the other thing is I sent out this tax rate calculation thing,
Yes, you did.
which I was thinking of including this type of thing
I think it's
in
good.
the finance.
Yep.
booklet. And I was trying not to make it super detailed. So like I said, miscellaneous assessor, because I figured nobody cared about the, whatever those assessor things are. They might ask us what they
So
want.
the intent is, though, the larger intent is to give people a sense of how complex this is? Or what is the intent for including it, since it doesn't actually calculate something? And I suggest that people probably won't know most of these terms unless they've spent more time just being informed. And so
Well,
maybe at the
Gar
top-
suggested
numbers,
adding numbers to it,
I hear that.
which could do. I think the intent is when people are voting on things, they understand what the impact is.
I don't think they do.
So my thought is, this is the kind of thing that would be great if you had a question at the top. How do we calculate your tax rate? Or how does the town's taxation burden get figured out? And then this becomes the answers, or something, I don't know.
Well, it's the something that, I don't,
The big thing that jumped out at me is
Yeah.
we've never reviewed the estimated taxes to be raised from new growth or new construction or renovation, the assessed stuff. Have we ever audited that, or is that just something that they can plug in at will?
Andrea, how do you come up with that number?
Usually it's based on, permits that have been processed,
Building
and like building
permits.
permits and things like that, and then like, anything else that's been added as a property or anything hasn't been assessed previously that now has been created, gets added to new growth.
And
So like if it's a
historically,
new,
we've been pretty accurate with our estimates.
so it comes through the
Yeah,
assessor's
we-
office.
Do what we're doing then.
yes, yeah, so I kind of do what I do with Snow and Ice, I take like the, 5-year rolling average, and we've averaged about $200,000, and that's what I plug into the budget every year. And we're
So that is
usually about
the
around that.
taxes we've received from the increase in assessed
From new
values.
growth, and
Yes,
yeah.
Yes,
New growth and assessment.
Yeah.
But it's something like, we've never really looked at that, what it is, but
well, I
it's
think
good to
that
know. Yeah, it was good for this.
it's like all the revenue, all the revenue we receive that.
It sounds like a small thing, so it's not
Yeah, it's not a huge number, and it's consistent. I think that if we had a year when we had CST come on,
Mhm.
then it's a much bigger number. But I think that a lot of that may be in the rearview mirror. That,
No.
well, I don't think we know when they're going to be applying for a building permit. And that's big bucks when they do, right?
Yes, but luckily, the DOR will let us, say they poured a foundation, we can say, okay, well, we have 25% new growth. You haven't finished the project yet, but you do have like the start of a building, so you can include that.
Well, they
so.
usually do a separate building permit for the foundation.
Right.
And I think that one thing that Michelle does is for anything that's in the process of being built,
Yeah.
she goes and looks at it on June 30th and determines the assessed value of the in-progress construction. And that's what's included in this estimate.
I mean, the big thing that's concerning is the downturn in that cell signaling technology industry. There's a big recession throughout Cambridge.
Which is why we're not including estimates for that revenue in anything we're doing.
Right.
We're hoping for it.
Right. We're not in.
It'll be a bonus.
Yeah. And then I think as soon as they start applying for building permits, then I'm assuming we'll have a better idea of progress to assume as far as the impact on tax revenue. That will be hard for Michelle because it's not like we have a lot of that type of property in town.
Well, I know we didn't have any money to do anything on Atwater Ave for next year, so it's at least that far away.
And can the money be assessed when the building permit is issued? You don't have to.
So
It's
when the building
Building
permit's
permit fee.
issued, they'll be paying about 500,000 in fees, depending on
Got it.
how valuable the project is. But then, once the construction goes along, she then makes an assumption of what she's gonna assess it at for the year through partial construction.
Partial construction.
And she usually goes out and, you know, checks it to see, okay, how much has the, you know, foundation been done, how much of, you know, the walls have been done, things like
Yeah,
that,
I
so.
And she does that with all, I know when I was doing my addition, I was mad that they were slow, but then I said, oh, good, they're slow, it's not gonna impact my taxes, but guess what? She came out June 30th and it did impact my taxes. Said, okay, I guess I messed that up. Yeah, so it's, building fees are separate from the assumption on the assessed value.
Yeah, my question was the latter part.
Yeah. And if Andrea knows building fees are coming in, then we can include it in the estimated revenue for a given year, but I'm not sure.
I usually have to have some kind of like concrete, like, we are definitely getting this in if I'm gonna use it as an
Yeah.
estimate, cause the DOR wants something to say like, yes, like you have a good basis for knowing that you're gonna get that money in.
So it's more likely that the building permit fees will end up in free cash.
Yes, exactly,
That's-
exactly.
Any other comments on this?
I
type
thought it
of
was,
thing?
I liked it.
Okay.
I enjoyed reading it.
Okay,
I wasn't sure what it was gonna gain us, but I don't have any concern with it, it's fine.
well, and on the debt stuff, I was trying to explain the bands and stuff, so that,
I appreciate all of the things you're trying to
And-
explain, to me, I don't know if it adds confusion, I don't know if it advances things, but it's fine to have it. It is clear in and of itself.
I look at it as a good jump on our annual newsletter.
Right.
To start.
I mean, I think the idea of adding numbers to it is, that could either go one way or another.
I was afraid it was too complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you
afraid.
could start with what's the impact on $100,000 of valuation? But this,
Well, wait a
think
minute,
it could-
$100,000 of valuation?
I know, won't
You're
get you.
back in 1953.
No, I
Do
figure
you,
it's better than 1,000 because people can
No, I- no,
multiply
you
by
better go
smaller
to-
numbers.
You better go to 1 million.
do you ever put
Right.
your estimated tax rate calculation in the finance
Mhm.
booklet?
I do.
Yeah, so she's got the calculations in
Right.
in the booklet anyway.
That have the numbers.
They have the numbers,
Right.
and this is just trying to
I
explain it.
appreciate that, that's good,
Mhm.
I look at
I think
I
it's good.
also,
It's a good roll-up.
the Department of Revenue has a finance management resource bureau that's fairly new, and they've really been working hard on putting like new videos and like up, and they have like short little like 2 to 5 minute videos on Prop 2.5, like what is it, and this is how your tax rate is calculated. So I don't know if you want to include like a link or tell people that that's there if they would rather see a video of it, or that's too much. Don't know. We'll see, but it's very helpful. They have a lot.
Interesting.
They've really been working hard on that.
Maybe that could go on the website
Yes.
where there's a live link.
Yes,
Under the we have a page, right?
right.
But it's not very well developed.
Good background.
I'll have to look at that page.
Yeah, I can send you all the link to
Yeah, that'd be
the
great.
to the
If you
videos.
could,
Okay.
it's worth a look.
Will the project have to stop if we don't have enough bond appreciation in a certain year?
What are you talking about by project?
Like Essex Elementary, if we estimate, 20 million in a certain year, and they go to 25 million, do we have to,
Okay,
Is that an issue?
so
we'll pay the interest,
let me step back. Okay, so on all of our capital projects, we're going out for an appropriation in order to bid.
Right.
The bid cannot exceed what we've appropriated. So we can't begin construction if it's coming in too high.
Right.
We'd have to come back and get more money from town, and I think the same thing with the school is we're gonna appropriate the whole amount, and then it's gonna be up to the people running the building project to determine how much they need each year, and they can always issue a ban whenever they want.
Right,
So that if they
Right.
estimated they needed 10 million and it turns out they needed 20 million, then they can issue a second ban.
right. They
For a
just hit
year.
the tax rate quicker than we.
Yeah,
But for the project as a whole, whatever amount gets approved by the MSBA this fall, and presuming both towns approve it in their votes and ballot, if the ultimate bids a year later come in above that amount,
yeah,
then it would go back, they would pull some value out of it and they would rebid it.
okay. So they would get a new bid
Yeah.
down to what the appropriation
Yeah,
was.
the design team
Okay.
is responsible for delivering a project that,
Okay,
Meets
it's
the budget.
within
Yeah.
the vote,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So that would involve changing some aspect of the project to enable that?
value engineering it a bit, yeah.
Who's the program?
Get rid of some of the glitz.
the OP.
It's
Trying to space.
Okay,
Same,
So what would you like on the warrant?
same architect.
well, did people have a chance to look at it?
Yep. Did you want to go over which ones, maybe,
Well, it's gonna,
I mean, there are an awful lot on there that have to do with us.
I guess I'm a little confused, I thought we had to like
Oh,
park it until it gets revised.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, just park it for now.
Park it till
Park it.
next week, and then
Okay.
we'll go through it, and I think ask people to look at it in advance.
Yep.
To kind of notate
Yeah.
those articles which you think might be appropriate for no recommendation,
And there are a lot.
yes. And because most of the financial ones that are in here, we've already voted to approve them.
That's a little bit why I was asking you the question, because we've
Yeah,
already voted them. Do
we have to, when the warrant goes to print in the FinCom booklet,
Yes,
we usually have a line at the bottom of each warrant article that says whether the finance committee recommends and whether the select board
Yep.
recommends.
no, I understand.
And
all
that's
that.
all we're
I
trying
didn't know
to
if we needed
do.
to do it again, that's all I was asking.
Yes, we have to do it on the warrant.
Okay.
Can't assume,
It makes meetings go faster when you've got that in print. When it's on town meeting floor, that's when you get all the questions. Everybody raises their hands and go, what do you mean by this or that? Usually.
yeah. And, okay, so do you have anything that we need to cover, Andrea? No, so we're good. So we have fine tuning to do on the warrant and these special articles, snow and ice and prior year bills.
Can we get an update on what specific capital budget edits to look into for next meeting? I mean,
There aren't any at this point.
Okay. It was on the agenda.
It is
think
on
just
the
in
agenda.
case.
I was wondering that too.
It's like a placeholder.
That was operating capital budgets, both of them edits if there were any,
Right.
but there aren't any.
Okay.
At this
Not
point,
yet, not till next week. Too early for edits.
right, if the select board changes something
Mm-hmm.
from what we've
Right.
recommended, then we've got a dilemma. And these two items that she's still working on, the snow and ice and the prior year bills. Okay,
There was a minor tweak in the CPC, if you want a liaison update. I'll wait till that's.
there's a tweak?
Yes, there was a tweak. We earmarked $16,000 for
Signs.
at Reed Park and Pine Street Field, the select board meeting, they wanted to include Singing Beach. And now the warrant is reading recreational signs, so it might be a number of signs.
Is there a different number?
No, it's still 16,000.
Oh,
It's just
okay,
the
okay,
scope, it's more than just what we voted on, I guess,
okay.
which
No signs.
makes sense for that number, 16,000 for 2 signs.
Okay. Okay, but the numbers are the same,
Yeah.
Do we need to revote it if it's,
no,
Yeah.
I think the numbers are the same, we're good. And plus, we're
It's just you
gonna,
have to be careful those last minute wording slips when you, after things have been voted on there.
This is more a question of just general curiosity, but CPC put the current sign in, I feel like relatively recently, and I'm
at
wondering,
Singing Beach,
yeah, I'm wondering how long we keep a sign at Singing Beach, or is it
I don't know.
a couple of years?
a couple years?
Kathy might have had a plan for something on Singing Beach at the select board. That's what I got in the notes, but
Yeah, I've just,
maybe it's signs up Beach Street pointing Singing Beach this way.
I'm guessing that the meeting, the question might come up on town meeting floor, I hope somebody's ready to answer it. That's just me preparing for the future. So,
New sign for Maury's house.
no, no, no. No, none of that.
okay. So, Peter has asked me to make the FinCom booklet shorter,
Yes, that's what I asked, I
so I'm
said,
gonna attempt to do that.
You already did a few years back.
I did, I
I
know
know,
it's
it's just-
shorter.
well, I've been
Peter
on
wants
long
it
enough,
even shorter.
I've been on long enough to each time, they've all been shortened a little bit, I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm very happy with the trend.
I like the trend.
I've tried to cut boilerplate every year.
Yeah,
you know,
me
the
too.
fluff that Greg.
Well, get rid, so I'll make a note, get rid of fluff. Should I thank people or not?
Of course.
Oh,
thank you.
that's not fluff.
You could do it in one sentence,
Okay,
Thanks to everybody.
2 key players.
okay.
No, I think the thanks are really important.
Liaison updates, anything? We got CPC, anybody else have anything?
Nothing more than what's mentioned.
Okay. And where are we standing on the facilities stuff?
So, we met, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I think Chuck actually came, we had a little bit of back and forth with Chuck last meeting, I think. He's not on
No,
today.
there doesn't seem to be a huge audience.
Yeah, but, so he was, he's trying to, sort of push forward a little bit on the question of DPW plus public safety.
Yeah,
And I did caution him that, in the conversations that we've had, that given the, the Essex project and some other things that are going on, that there might not be an appetite to tackle that project,
next year,
as soon as he's hoping.
yeah.
Unless he wants to put it at Pine Street Field,
Right.
where it belongs.
Andy, what is he hoping?
I think he's hoping to pursue one of those two strategies, either, at least a DPW up on the School Street site.
Within the year, within 2 years?
I think in his, if everything was on a glide path, I think he'd say, okay, let's appropriate the full design money this year, and let's,
That gives me a sense of what the expectation is.
Yeah. but I don't, I'm not sure we collectively see that happening. and
Yeah,
I'm not sure if the select board has discussed any of those options. It'd be interesting to know.
If we could encourage them to do like their own plans as opposed to farming things out to third-party vendors, we might save enough to be able to,
They don't have,
they can stamp plans if he's a professional engineer.
But somebody's gonna draw them.
Draw them.
they're civil engineers.
Well, we have all this pipeline plans. Do we need to keep hiring someone to do more? Or haven't they learned that we can just put together our own plans?
I think there's a lot of risk in that.
There is. But it's a small town, and that's usually how.
This is off the topic a little bit, but I was with the town of Reading today, with the town manager, and the head of planning and the head of economic development. And we were talking about municipal service buildings, like DPW buildings and fire department buildings. Because we have an interest in, I'm interested in the town of Reading. And so one of the subjects we talked about was whether Reading and Wakefield, because they're buttoned
Yep.
against each other, could build a garage. We were talking about a DPW garage. And whether, and the new woman, she's just been appointed as town manager, is really she's quite smart and enlightened. And she said, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. That is something that we're pursuing. And to try to figure out, are there some economies of scale that we could achieve by building a garage that we would mutually use with another town? And I said, it's funny because where I live, it's a tiny little town, and in many ways there might be economies that could be achieved by considering that
And,
kind
yeah,
of
and
stuff.
I think perhaps there have been feelers put out over time. And I think that, Essex certainly is the town that would make the most sense. And I get the sense that they're big on capital and like their own buildings.
They built a beauty going out towards Ipswich there.
Yep.
And I don't know what the numbers work
So
out.
they're
Giving
having
them
troubles,
heartburn.
they're having troubles with it.
Okay.
Now they have to grow the town government to fit.
No, they have to keep the roof on.
Yeah, the siding's
Okay.
falling off.
Oh,
and-
dear.
Yeah,
Oh,
they've
dear.
got some construction issues.
Oh dear.
So on that end, one of the things that I was, when both Essex and Manchester bought fire trucks, and now we both need pumper trucks. I was wondering if there wouldn't have been,
We're not,
could one town get the
We're
fire
not
truck
buying a
and one
pumper
get
truck.
the pump? Well, I know, it's a
we're buying
need,
an engine.
engine truck.
We
but
don't
it's-
need the pumper truck as much as Essex because more of our people are on town water. They have huge sections of Essex that have no water.
Right, so they need.
So
the
they
pumper.
need the pumper. It's my understanding, we don't need the pumper.
But with shared
use
use,
them.
it would have been nice if one town had a new fire truck and the other town had a new pumper.
I agree.
We're trying to converge these departments.
I think there was an attempt at some dialogue a few years back,
Yeah,
and it fell flat.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't deny Essex a new fire truck because it is a safety issue. The old ones are kind of rickety.
So it is interesting. If you go to other parts of the country, I think New England is very much like town by town by town, and every town has to have its own little infrastructure, and off you go. You get out to places like Colorado, Denver and surrounding communities all do things by county.
Even New Jersey.
yeah.
And maybe we think about this like, okay, our partner is Essex, and yeah, fire trucks probably don't matter, but we've talked in the past about a street sweeper. And a street sweeper is a pretty heavy duty piece of equipment. I think we pay a lot to have it rented. But what if Manchester and Ipswich and Groveland and Rowley all co-owned a street sweeper? And it gets
Yeah.
used by us, 3 weeks a year and everybody else, and it gets parked someplace like Groveland where they have a great big heated garage. But I think that's more the model rather than
Yeah.
why do we always have to think about, well, if it doesn't work with Essex, we can't pursue it.
Yeah, you're right.
Go further.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I begrudgingly approved the dispatch when we went to county, because that's the trend
Yeah.
that will be more efficient.
And that saved us an enormous
Yeah.
Yeah.
amount of money.
Mhm.
And it works.
I certainly haven't heard complaints.
Well, let's call the cops and see if they show up.
I've
Yeah.
heard people say we
Yeah,
have
have
to
you
have
heard complaints?
another ambulance now, and that we have to,
And have you heard any?
our insurance billings don't match what we pay on all the out-of-town stuff.
I guess I have heard a few complaints, but they're more on it was really great when we had the,
Yeah, yes. Those I've heard too, yes. When I knew the dispatcher.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when you could call.
Well, it's like Mayberry RFD.
You have to call dispatch an awful lot of times in order to know the dispatcher. I haven't quite figured out how people knew the dispatcher so well.
because they drank with them at the Legion.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
That's right.
I see.
So if you want an inside scoop on what happens with, all this, just get yourself a scanner and listen.
Yeah.
And it is, I will say it is very, very interesting. So dispatch does not have the ground local knowledge of this town and other towns. And so you hear them dispatching and explaining where certain things are, which is interesting. It's probably not like we used to have here where everybody knew exactly where Norwood Ave 1A, B back
Yeah.
deck was. So there's that. And then there's another interesting thing, which is language. So some of the dispatchers have different dialects, and it is interesting that they have to repeat. So, if they're doing quote unquote a wellness check, they will oftentimes repeat some of the specifics, like, we've been to that house 5 times before, and you ought to be cautious about X, and they'll repeat that. So, it's like everything. You have changes and they evolve into things, but, a scanner is an interesting.
What do you get? What?
I don't know, I just have a little cheap one and it scans like Middleton and,
There's an app.
yeah, there's an app you can get on your phone called
Called
Scanner
Five-O.
RX. And,
5-0?
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
There's one
it's,
for airlines too.
fun. You can listen
Airplanes.
to New York City dispatch.
So you don't go to work each day, you
Yeah,
plan to sit in
exactly.
front of the-
I do. I sit at home in my Barca lounger listening to the scanner.
Okay. Are we gonna
I think
set a
we're
new
gonna-
record for a length of meeting here, or no?
No, we have minutes to approve from from
And I think
April,
May.
March.
Well, the most
You're already in
recent
May.
minutes, they made the adjustment. They had missed attributing to Maury,
Yes.
I saw that.
a intelligent question which they attributed to me.
And you
And I
you
thought,
couldn't have done
I'm getting
it.
all the credit here.
Authorship makes no difference. They just get the info.
I move we approve those minutes.
And I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think we're up to date on the minutes.
What?
I think we're up to date on the minutes.
The minutes are good.
Isn't that amazing?
Uh-huh.
We're on a
We're
roll.
doing much better than we
Much
have in
better,
prior years.
much here, yeah, much.
Okay. So next week, March 19th,
Mhm.
we're gonna do the FinCom booklet. Hopefully you'll have something. And the warrant, and then any remaining budget items, right? Is there anything else?
Didn't work.
Some bills from 1870 or
I
something.
know, right?
And then the 26th is basically the same type of meeting to finalize the FinCom booklet and if there's any other last minute budget changes. And then I was wondering should we have a meeting on April 16th?
Why?
Thank you, that's the question, yes, exactly.
I know you guys wanted the auditors and Dan Sherman to come in April.
Oh,
I mean, it doesn't have to be April.
I was thinking of having a meeting before town meeting.
I think that would be useful, because don't you have to open the meeting and then adjourn?
Right, so that I thought on the 16th, we might kind of go over what my comments are gonna be.
Oh, an anticipatory meeting
I see.
for the event.
okay.
Yeah. Dry run.
Yes,
Always good.
yes, I think it'd be useful to discuss the comments.
That's what I'm gonna say, since I'm kind of representing the FinCom.
Yeah.
So this would be on the 16th?
Yeah, Thursday, April 16th, does that work? I didn't do it the next week, because the next week is school vacation week, and
Yep.
I'm already loaded with meetings that week.
And the scanner may be very busy that week.
Could be.
Yeah.
And so are we gonna have Dan Sherman and all that,
I'm gonna try and get them on the 16th.
16th?
Sure.
Great.
I'd like to see what he forecasts for this year.
Nothing, supposed to be zero.
Had a pat on the back, I'm hoping.
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.